I mean, first of all, just tell us a bit about yourself and the purpose of Sea and City.
Yeah, so I'm Jane. I'm the CEO, and it's actually City to Sea. So if you imagine plastic pollution flowing from the city to the sea, that's where the name came from. And what I'll be able to talk to you today is about our strategic focus, which is the things that wash up on the beach. So all our campaigns and programs are led by what turns up on the beach in those Marine Conservation Society beach cleans. So where Rembrandt's been talking about sort of electronics and fashion, the stuff that turns up on the beach is plastic water bottles, period products, wrapping and packaging, food to go sector packaging. So we've worked really to design practical solutions to those problems. And it's pretty overwhelming, right? Like the Blue Planet effect, we've been around for 10 years. There is a tsunami of single-use plastic waste flowing from our cities to our seas, and it's getting worse. So even though, more people are aware, and there's more solutions out there because of the growth in plastic production driven by the fossil fuel industry and the slight reduction in need for fossil fuels as a fuel. There's now a large lobby driving the growth in fossil fuel usage in plastic production because that's an alternative market for the fuel that is lost through electric cars. So our work is far, far from done. And just quickly, the refill campaign was one of our first and most award-winning campaigns, which connects people to places they can refill their water bottle and now their coffee cup and their lunchbox and find zero waste stores. But we also campaign in the plastic-free period space. We've delivered training to 25,000 students all about what their period choices are to prevent those fatbergs that Rembrandt, I think, or Casey referred to earlier. And we've also done a lot of political advocacy work. So we know really that the government needs to inspire businesses to act. And so through that, we've done work around getting plastic straws banned, polystyrene banned, cutlery. So, we have a bit of a three-pronged approach. We focus on businesses, we focus on communities and individuals and behaviour, but we also really focus on governments because we think they can drive the change.
I mean, you've talked about plastics there as being a pollutant, as being something that really scars our environment, scars our beaches, scars our seas. But do you also deal with the health impact? Because there's increasing evidence now of plastics and microplastics having a very bad effect on our health, from our
Mm.
breathing to even dementia. I mean, is that something you also focus on?
I mean, it's a growing storm, isn't it? And it's something that we find hard to focus on, to be honest, because from our inception, we've been about practical solutions that people can make in their everyday lives. And we have struggled to work out how to put out the message that you can have problems with your hormones. Maybe people are having periods younger because of plastic pollution. There are fertility issues, obesity issues, public health, and we've really struggled to design a like fun city to see campaign that really helps with that. So what we do instead is that we work with our partner NGOs like Plastic Soup Foundation, WWF, Friends of the Earth, to really support the research that's coming out. And we use that as a secondary call. We really want the supermarkets and the brands to elect to come along with us on this transition to circular economy. But I can see a time coming in the future where this becomes the asbestos of the 21st century, and, potentially our shareholders are taking board members to court for endangering people in the same way that happened with cigarettes in the 1980s. So it's a huge concern. It is something we find it difficult to position the normal way that we would campaign on.
I mean, you make it sound the way you speak like it's big and huge, but on your site you say, yes, the problem might be complicated, but you think that solutions don't have to be. Can you explain what you mean by that?
I wonder if I would change my. I was looking at that actually when we came on, and I think I would update that now. And I mean, we spoke earlier, and myself and my children were trying to put a kitten into a baby grow to stop it from trying to nibble on its stitches. And I thought, my God, there has to be an analogy in here in this ridiculously difficult situation on how to transition to a circular economy, right? Because, you get one foot in and another one pops out, then you get the head in and an arm pops out. And, what actually needs to happen for the transition to a circular economy is that you need to get all the arms and all the legs in at the same time. Right. And the issue that we've had with a lot of the pilots that have come out around the transition to circular economy is that they have been piecemeal. And, actually looking back at that statement, I think that potentially, 5 years ago, we thought that if we campaign really hard and showed that people wanted products and services in refillable packaging, we showed that demand. Look what we've done with water. I haven't been to a meeting when somebody's turned up with a single-use plastic water bottle for about 4 years. I mean, I just don't even see it. Maybe that's because people don't show up to a meeting with me, but I do think it has really, really changed. But that was quite a simple solution on water. If you're talking about washing up liquid, I mean, other than zero waste stores, and I think we've reached saturation with zero waste stores. Everyone that is prepared to lug their shopping down to a zero waste store and can afford it is doing it. We need to get the supply chain sorted out, what's happening behind the scenes and front of house. We need the brands on board. We need to get own brand lined up. We need the supermarkets to get lined up. Everybody needs to collaborate and kind of move at once, because what we've had with our pilots is, frankly, you do a small pilot like the Loop pilot, in Tesco, and everyone sort of crosses their arms and says, oh, well, it didn't work, so we're not going to do it. Well, of course it didn't work. You need to get to a economy of scale, and you need to get a certain number of people involved. And for the supply chain to work commercially, you need to be at scale. So really, I mean, I can't tell you how many meetings I go to where people talk about collaboration. Um, but what really needs to happen is that the government needs to create a legislative landscape that makes single use uncompetitive. And at the moment, it still is cheap as chips. And then when you start talking to the boardroom about investing in reuse, and they start thinking about what their bonuses and they start thinking about their quarter results, they're not interested. So we've tried carrot and it hasn't worked. And so I think, fundamentally, what will drive the transition to circular economy is the stick, which could also be a lovely big kind of prize in terms of reuse actually being a more commercially viable offer. But to do that, we need to make single use more expensive.
Does that mean finding an alternative if we're going to, you know, work to scale? Because one of the problems I thought when I was listening to Rembrandt is pilots are good, they are important, but it's scale and you've said it, scale is important. And how do we move to scale? I mean, you're saying you get frustrated, the carrot doesn't work. Will the stick work? Because they could ignore you. What can we do, in terms
Yeah.
of our relationship with government and as individuals to make that difference?
Yeah, I mean, it's all about the tax system, isn't it? So, at the moment, we have campaigned really hard over the last 10 years, and we have a deposit return scheme, and we have extended producer responsibility, which is a polluter pays tax coming in over the next couple of years. Now, in theory, that is going to deliver cash that is going to go either to local government, but also to the PRO, to PAC UK, who is the government sort of supported body that's going to administer all of this. What we think needs to happen is that if we can truly say to businesses, we want you to invest, we want you to take a hit on your bottom line, then government has to match the funding. And the money from EPR that will come from tax and from DRS, which will come from deposits, some of it should be ring fenced into developing the local infrastructure. And I'm sure we'll talk about local economies, but local infrastructure to support reuse. And the things the brands are annoyed about is they don't want to spend capital money on a washing facility in Solihull to wash all of their beer bottles and put them back into the system. They don't know where's stuff going to get washed, where are they going to store everything? How is their stuff going to get from here to there? They need reverse logistics. And so there is a whole load of sort of national infrastructure. What about consumer comms? How are they going to tell people how to use this stuff that needs to be invested from the taxes that are being taken from EPR and DRS into scaling reuse here to match fund what we'll be asking of brands. And that's what they've done in France. And that's already showing, really great results, albeit, nothing's perfect, but it's much better than here.